a tour. Come on in. So this is our waiting area. So this is where you can take a seat to wait for your appointment. And we try and have something entertaining on TV for you to enjoy. And come with me, let's see Mohammed's room. So this is Mohammed's room where he does all the behind the scenes work. And over here is our reception area where Miss Hatija is taking all of your calls and helping you. And here is our first room. So this is the room where assistants come in or where our students can sit and do some private study. And this is another therapy room here. So this is where Miss Rayanne works from. She's got her toys ready and she's got her working area. Okay, and then we've got our kitchen. Come on in. So here we've got some snacks, some resources, and over here we've got more resources as well. You can never have enough. Okay, and then we've got one more room, and this is our last therapy room. This is my room where I work with all the kids and adults that I see. We usually have resources for the day ready to go. So if you have any questions, please let us know, and we hope you enjoy your visit. Bye.
Hello and welcome to Speech Pathology Week 2025. This year our theme is Impact Through Communication, celebrating the incredible role speech pathologists play in helping people thrive at every stage of life. Across Australia, more than 1.2 million people need support with communication. That might be a child learning to speak with confidence, a teenager finding their voice through a communication device, or an adult building the skills to share their ideas independently. Speech pathologists work in homes, schools, hospitals, aged care and communities, building skills, breaking down barriers and creating opportunities for everyone to participate. Each day this week we'll share stories from across the country, stories of connection, confidence, inclusion, empowerment, opportunity, well-being and independence. These stories remind us that communication is more than words. It's how we share ideas, express who we are and connect with each other. I invite you to join us in celebrating Speech Pathology Week. Share the stories, start the conversations and help shine a light on the power of communication. Happy Speech Pathology Week.
Hi everyone, it's Mariam from Achieve Speech. This week we are celebrating Speech Pathology Australia Week and it runs from the 25th to the 31st. And the theme for this year is Impact Through Communication. And how much of an impact does a speech pathologist have? And the truth is we can have quite a big impact on a person's life. From a young age, young children to senior Australians, we are working with them to improve their overall well-being, their connection and their access to opportunities. So this week we're going to be talking more about the type of impact that speech pathologists have on people's lives. If you have any questions, please let us know and take care. Bye.
I'm Ashita and I'm a clinical educator and speech pathologist at a university clinic. I work with children and families to support their communication skills and meet their goals for everyday life. Marcella is a 7-year-old child who came to the clinic earlier this year and she was stuttering. Her main communication goal was being able to speak effortlessly and fluently in everyday situations.
Marcella is very bubbly, very cheeky, loves to dance, loves to sing, loves to draw, and loves to talk.
The not cheeky part.
She is so bright and so funny. I've really enjoyed working with the family and she's made some excellent progress.
We came to see a speech pathologist because we noticed that Marcella's stuttering wasn't going away. Her sisters previously started as well when they were younger and then over time they stopped, but for Marcella it kept going.
Marcella's sessions and her goals to work towards fluency often are supported by her parent or her caregiver. So we work with Marcella's mum to deliver the treatment, being able to really support Marcella to be able to speak fluently in whether she's trying to win a game or tell a story, where I will often provide feedback to mum about how to improve and support Marcella's goal.
So we definitely have a goal. We would like Marcella to be as stutter-free as she can be. She's getting better and I think we're on track to reach our goal that she can be able to communicate with other people and they can understand what she's saying. Which one is your favorite?
The little size pizza.
What flavor?
Hawaiian.
She really loves to communicate and talk to whoever she meets. She is a funny little girl who loves to play, pretend play, and she really thrives off being in the spotlight. So for Marcella, I think that really lends to being effortless in the way she verbally communicates. She's such an interactive person that I think communication and being able to speak fluently means a huge deal to her. Is this green tea or English breakfast?
English breakfast.
Oh, okay. Can I have some milk?
You drink and then a chocolate.
We've definitely noticed some changes in her speech and her confidence with her words. And even at school, they've mentioned also that they have seen that Michelle has improved in her communication. We get a lot of support from Ish. She gives us tips on things to try, like what kind of games or situations that we should put her in to get her moving along in the program. So that has been a really big support.
She has been so resilient and really worked hard to practice her skills of fluency, and it's been such a joy to see her personality shine through and for her to be able to express her needs so confidently, and I've loved getting to know her and her mum.
Communication plays such an important role in Sienna's life through the use of her yes-no movements as well as her communication device. Sienna is able to ask for her needs and wants, let us know how she's feeling, share her opinions, and also connect with her friends, and at the same time participate in her schoolwork, and also be independent in the range of activities that she can partake in life. So what I love about my job is I love to be able to bring a voice to my clients, because often my clients have so much to say, but what they wanted to say is often locked inside themselves, resulting in frustration, challenging behaviors or unmet needs. So it is very rewarding when I see the difference that communication has made in their lives. I have had the privilege of working with the amazing client of mine, Sienna. She has a severe physical impairment, which prevented her from having access to her speech, and it's also prevented her from being able to point to communication devices. And Sienna is a very keen learner. She takes on the new advanced switching system on her stride, and she's really giving it a really good go. I look forward to see her continue to grow in her communication. What are some things that you want to achieve for the future?
I was devastated that Tay-Tay didn't visit Brisbane last time, so I definitely want to go to a Taylor Swift concert.
My name's Jess. Sienna's my daughter. She is 14 years old, turning 15 in September. Sienna is the bravest person that I know. She has changed our life in so many beautiful ways, and she is one of those people who is so well known in her community and is so loved and adored. We've been blessed to have such an amazing support of our speech pathologist Kirsty and some other people in community as well that have opened our eyes to what's available for Sienna. It's been really hard for me to learn, but with the amazing team, that's made things a lot easier for us as a family. And we're very lucky to have Kirsty refer to Gemma.
She came to me after several years working with a speech pathologist in the school system, where her skills had been developed in terms of switch access for communication, and they were looking for support to advocate and prescribe a system for her in her home life, essentially.
All of the work Sienna has done for years to get to this point to be able to use the communication device has been at school. So that crossing over to community was vital in a sense, because it allowed us to learn what Sienna knows at school and to be able to bring that into the home, bring it into different environments, and have a real good understanding of how to use that device and help that with some decision making for Sienna.
There is such meaning in being able to support people to communicate their needs, their wants, their opinions, their feelings, their likes and dislikes. This really reinforces and empowers people's ability to be part of our community and to make their own voice heard.
A few months ago was the first time I heard Sienna say mum on a communication device, which is really meaningful. So we're very grateful, aren't we, Sienna? Thank you. I'd like to thank our speech pathologists and Sienna's school as well, and all the people in her community that help her communicate, but particularly the hard work. And yes, Sienna's saying yes, she wants to thank them too. We couldn't do this without them and everyone's support, so we need speech pathologists, we need to communicate, and we need to hear our children, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Kate and I'm a speech pathologist in Adelaide, South Australia. I work with people who benefit from augmentative and alternative communication, so AAC. I work with Dan and I've been working with Dan for nearly 10 years now.
My name's Carol. I'm mum of Dan, who's now 15, so we've had speech pathologists part of our life for all of that time. Yes, I do come from a teaching background. I was an English teacher and a second language teacher, but I knew nothing about pre-literacy. Daniel started to receive a diagnosis when he was about 2, and so then really a lot of things ramped up then. Speech pathology, of course, it's just profound what it's done for us.
Driving over them in the...
When I first started working with Dan, he had a pod book that was not really used as a communication tool, but more of a ball or a throwing tool. And that was incredibly funny for Dan. What I knew I needed to do was to meet him where he was and what he wanted to communicate, rather than getting him to sit at a table and do certain activities. And so I really wanted to look at him through that intentionality model. And so we implemented a communication device, and we really found that he was joking a lot and saying really funny things just for the sake of it.
And it was an incredible moment when I first really heard what my son was saying. And it was astounding. And sure enough, it was about humour. Speech pathology actually gave me my son.
Hippopotamus.
One of the main goals for him was to ensure that he had communication autonomy. And that continues to be a goal because communication partners impact someone's ability to have communication autonomy. One of the other things with Dan is I wanted him to be able to communicate specifically. So he didn't have to rely on other people interpreting or guessing, and that being really frustrating for him.
As a 15-year-old, Daniel in the back of the car will tell you when the music you're playing is boring. He is constantly cheeky and funny. You know, he's part of the family. He gets to be part of the family because he can communicate and be part of the back and forth every day.
The communication goals and the journey has been a long one, over a decade nearly. The things that we're doing change depending on his situation, his communication needs and his communication partners.
Through a lot of the efforts of the speech therapist, Daniel has been able to access mainstream schooling. What's really important is that Daniel's in the mainstream classroom every day and he feels that he belongs there. And this is actually changing culture because there are now kids in mainstream who can't speak. And that's okay.
AAC could be for anyone. It might not be for everyone, but it could be for anyone. And lots of different people benefit from AAC for different reasons. The term AAC will eventually become null and void because it will be purely communication.
We do think that our speech pathologist is exceptional, but I also know that I've met many of them that are. Nothing has replaced a speech pathologist in teaching us who our son is. And it's profound. We are so grateful.
Okay, Abdullah, do you want more puzzle pieces? Do you want more? Can you say I? Let's try to use our words. Looking. I want
puzzle. I want puzzle.
W. Okay. What do you want? Which letter? X, Y, or Z?
Want. I want puzzle.
Good job. I want puzzle. Do you want more?
I want
puzzle.
Puzzle.
I want puzzle.
Want.
My name is Tegan Nichols. I'm a speech pathologist in Western Australia, servicing Geraldton, Northampton, Kalbarri, and I work with Kira. As a speech pathologist working in a rural area, it's important to me to ensure there's equal access and opportunity for clients in these areas due to the reduced availability of services and the long wait times. Kira is a 25-year-old young lady with Down syndrome. For Kira, communication means being independent in the community. It means being able to access TAFE. It means being able to go out and order a drink and not needing Dad to be there to facilitate communication breakdowns.
Her challenges are being understood by others, and that's one of the reasons for having speech pathology, is just so she can expand her words, so people who aren't more familiar with her can start to understand her, and so she can learn to speak a little bit better.
Two more.
Now, working with Tegan as a speech pathologist has been amazing. She treats Kira as an adult, not as a child.
Impact through communication means looking at clients holistically. It means considering their well-being. It means looking at inclusivity across all contexts, accessibility, and how all of this is going to impact their communication. Push that tongue back. When I work with Kira, we work on her speech intelligibility. So it means showing her maybe with a mirror how her mouth movements and her production and what that looks like for her. Sometimes people need that video feedback, and for her using a mirror, she can see what she looks like and then she can see what I'm trying to model to her. So far in Kira's journey, she has made so many gains, and I really look forward to seeing how she goes in the future, being able to access the community by herself, being able to go out and socialise, being able to order a drink, go to a cafe, and really watch her grow as an independent young woman.
I'd say to Tegan, she's just wonderful, and to keep up the good work, and thank you for helping my daughter along.
My name is Jessie and I am a senior speech pathologist, and I work in the Albury-Wodonga and surrounding areas, and my service population is 0 to 18, predominantly in complex disability and paediatric feeding disorder. I love speech pathology and the scope of practice. No day is ever the same, and the breadth of different little people and families and complexities that we get to work with. I am truly so lucky that this is my job.
I'm Beck, and I have a 2-year-old daughter named Ada. Ada has central core disease, which means she has quite weak muscles. She needs our help to move around, and she needs help with eating and swallowing and drinking.
Ada is the most delightful little 2-year-old girl who I have had the pleasure in working with over the past 12 plus months. I've been working with Ada around swallowing, feeding, dysphagia, as well as communication.
Eating was one of her very first challenges. She was tube fed to start with, and we met a speech pathologist to help with breastfeeding, tube feeding. When we were discharged, we met our amazing speech pathologist, Jessie. Jessie has been there to support us with managing the feeding, but also helping with Ada's communication needs.
I come to Ada's home on a weekly basis, and we engage in play-based intervention using different modes of communication, as well as supporting her immediate family with capacity building strategies, as well as feeding and swallowing intervention.
We live in a very small town called Myrtleford in northeast Victoria. We don't have a speech pathologist in town or a paediatric speech pathologist, let alone one that specialises in feeding. So we found Jessie, She is 1 hour away, so Jessie needs to travel to us. It's so great that she's willing to do that because we need to learn how to support Ada in her environments.
Ada's progression over the past 12 plus months has been nothing short of extraordinary. Ada is now eating, drinking in a safe and meaningful way, as well as communicating with her mum, her dad, her siblings, and those she loves who are around her.
There was a period of time that she couldn't consume food, and with Jessie's help, just encouraging still having exposure to food, like sensory play with food, we were able to keep her interested until she could consume food, and now she just loves it. She sits with us at the family table, she eats with her siblings, and it's just amazing that this tube-fed girl that couldn't eat anything at all is now eating a big bowl of pasta. Our focus at the moment with Jessie, our speechy, is communication. Due to her physical disability, she can't move around like other kids her age. Ada doesn't have the ability to do that, and she's becoming really frustrated. So Jessie is trying to support us in finding ways that we can help Ada communicate those wants and needs in different ways.
Working with Beck has been an absolute dream. She takes on any feedback and any intervention strategies and embeds them wherever possible. She's open to learning, she's open to new ideas and strategies, and is always striving to do the best for Ada.
My hopes for Ada, for her future, are that even if her ways of getting around aren't exactly the same as other kids, I just hope that she feels included and supported in life. And Jessie and our team, they're amazing. They've supported us so much so far, and I think with their help, no matter what, Ada is going to live a great life, and she's going to succeed in whatever she wants to do, which is, all I can hope for.
Hi everyone, it's Mariam here. So this is a really common question that we get asked, is my child overactive, or is there something wrong going on here that they need to be aware of? So just keep in mind that, being active is really common for young children, and it's just a way of them learning and interacting with the environment. We do always recommend consult with a pediatrician for an idea of their overall growth and development. But it's also good to know that, kids learn through activity and actively engaging with their surroundings. So why not, instead of fighting against the wiggles, work with it? So incorporate more movement breaks for your child to help keep themselves regulated. Incorporate things like fidget toys. And just remember that it doesn't always mean that your child is misbehaving if they're moving around too much. Sometimes it could be their way of learning. So always remember to speak to a healthcare professional about this. And as always, good luck and enjoy your therapy sessions. Hi everyone, it's Mariam here. So this is a really common question that we get asked, is my child overactive, or is there something wrong going on here that they need to be aware of? So just keep in mind that, being active is really common for young children, and it's just a way of them learning and interacting with the environment. We do always recommend consult with a pediatrician for an idea of their overall growth and development. But it's also good to know that, kids learn through activity and actively engaging with their surroundings. So why not, instead of fighting against the wiggles, work with it? So incorporate more movement breaks for your child to help keep themselves regulated. Incorporate things like fidget toys. And just remember that it doesn't always mean that your child is misbehaving if they're moving around too much. Sometimes it could be their way of learning. So always remember to speak to a healthcare professional about this. And as always, good luck and enjoy your therapy session.